Texas Monthly article written last year, our local historian Bud Garrett was quoted as saying that Mineral Wells is in the middle of a renaissance with a burst of energy that we haven't seen in decades. He wasn't exaggerating. Both of our iconic historic hotels are under renovation. Both of our iconic historic signs have either been rebuilt or restored. Our entire downtown is in a swirl of renovation. This is one of the two signs getting a new life, and its story is larger than life. Here to talk about the history of the sign as well as its restoration are members of a local group called Leadership Mineral Wells from Class 25. This is Brad Bennett and Martin Buzbee. We're going to talk a little bit about the history and then about their class's project to restore the sign. So if this sign reminds you of the famous Hollywood sign, well, there's a really good reason. You guys talk about what we know or what we think we know about the sign and its history.
We know it was built in 1922 by George Holmgreen with San Antonio Iron Works out of San Antonio, Texas. He was the president of the Rotary Club, the Texas Rotary Club, and they had their state convention here in Mineral Wells. And he decided to give this present to the city of Mineral Wells for their hospitality.
You know, I was thinking about that. Like, just knowing the facts to remember to share it is one thing. But when I stopped and thought about this thing was a gift.
Yeah.
A gift for hospitality.
Like the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. Like what kind of hospitality did it have to be for somebody from San Antonio to build a sign like this and give it to Mineral Wells as a gift? Like I can't even imagine.
Good party.
So, right. So that's how we got the sign, but let's talk about the legend, the stories about our sign inspiring the Hollywood sign.
Well, as the legend goes, a famous Hollywood producer had visited Mineral Wells, as many Hollywood luminaries and others had done during its heyday. And upon seeing the sign, he thought of a great idea and where it might play out when he went back to Hollywood. And again, as the legend goes, that's what started the idea for the Hollywood sign, which was originally Hollywood Land, and then eventually the land dropped down, and it's probably the most famous sign in the U.S., if not the world now.
Yeah. Speaking of famous and large, this sign was at the time the largest non-commercial electrically lit sign in the nation. Now, obviously, that's before the Hollywood sign because we were talking about how big that one is. And didn't you say it's like 45 feet high,
and 310 feet long.
310 feet long. So it didn't take long for ours to not be the biggest, but it's still the first, or we think. So you can decide whether the legend is true. That's our story, and we're sticking with it. However, ours was built in 1922, and the Hollywood sign wasn't built until 1923. Let's talk about the restoration project. What your class, Leadership Mineral Wells Class 25, every year the class picks a project. Why did you guys settle on this one, and then what did it take to get it done?
Well, it's interesting. You know, we, and you're familiar with each leadership class. You select a project as a group. We were a group of 23 individuals. We had a lot of different opinions, but it's interesting. Over the course of our program, we had a lot of different opinions on many different subjects. However, when we came to the project, we pretty much crystallized around on it during our retreat, right at the very beginning of our program, and it just seemed a natural. You grow up in this town. Again, it may not be as big as Hollywood, but it's certainly visible here. You see it every time you drive down the street, and we wanted to bring it back to life. And it's interesting, we didn't know it at the time, but you bring up the man who gifted it to Mineral Wells. You know, within that gift, what he specified is that it would be lit and cared for. And so that's kind of what we're doing with this project, is we're caring for it, bringing it back to life, and lighting it again.
So you mentioned people see it coming into town. So originally the sign was placed over on East Mountain, and the best view of it was actually with the Baker Hotel in front. And we have several postcards where you can see the Baker Hotel and the welcome sign back behind it. But it was moved here in 1972 so that travelers coming in from the east had a really great view of the sign. So what's the current status of the project?
We're actually at 99% completion of the project. We've already recently lit the sign. We have a few little kinks with some fluttering of the LED lights, which should be resolved here soon, and then it'll be permanently turned on, and it'll change colors with different events and holidays.
That's awesome. Okay, so tell us about the restoration project. What all did you do to the sign, and then what's left?
Well, when we first started, the sign was rusted very bad in certain areas. It was bent where kids have been climbing on it. So we had to straighten the sign in a lot of areas, strengthen it with reinforced steel. We sandblasted the whole sign, came back with multiple layers of primer, paint, and then on the edges of the sign we had some special trim that was constructed to put on the rim of the sign to attach the LED lights. So now instead of the light bulbs being within the sign in the holes, we're illuminating the back of the letter with the LEDs. And then to make the sign stand out, we added the windscreen similar to tennis courts as a backdrop to give it a mask look where you can see it in the daytime better.
Yeah, because it was really, you can see all the equipment back behind there, and it was kind of a distraction.
Correct.
So the netting made a big difference.
So, you know, the leadership program is about learning about leadership, learning about how you function as a leader, how to work with others, and then specifically with Mineral Wells, how to be of service to the community.
Yeah.
So for us, we take a lot of pride in the fact that this isn't a project that we did or a project that was about us, but rather it's a project that has brought something historic back to life, refreshed it, and it's something that the whole community and visitors can all enjoy. So we take a lot of pride in the fact that we have something that we've been able to kind of give back to the community.
Yeah, we definitely did a good job, and it's pretty amazing to see it lit. I'm excited to see it be on full time.
We're very proud of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job. Good job.
So.